Alright, so I went through a pile of books looking for more apples so I could show you one that was more streaked instead of so well blended. So, Adorable Animals by Jane Maday, M-A-D-A-Y. It is a grayscale, but it's the very same technique. So I've gone ahead and just left out the colors that I used in the last video. So we're going to use red orange and red, and then I think we'll go with raspberry. Okay, and then I'm going to grab, instead of yellow, I'm going to grab up Harvest Gold. So when you're doing a grayscale, you're going to do your lightest color in the white area, then your darkest color in the darkest area, and so forth. So I'm doing my lightest right here. Now, because I already know that I want this apple to be more streaked looking, can you see what I'm doing? I'm going back and forth and leaving those streaks in there. Okay? Because we practice blending so much, when you want something that's streaky, you're going to have to consciously put those streaks in. Alright? So, there's my streaky area on the lightest shade. There's a little bit of light there, so I'm going to put some streaks. So a little bit of light here. Notice I'm going the direction that the streaks are. I'm keeping it in horizontal with the apple itself. Now these are not really light areas, but again, I want to show you how I would do an apple streaky. So I'm not going to pay as much attention to the grayscale underneath. But if you've never done grayscale, I want you to know how to do it. But again, I've done a ton of different coloring videos, so it's probably already out there somewhere. Alright, so now I'm going to move on over to my red orange. And these are just the Crayola brand colored pencils. They're not anything special. Okay, now I'm going to streak up into it, but I'm trying real hard not to blend that. Like I said, once you've started blending, sometimes it's hard not to automatically just blend, but I'm trying to leave this somewhat streaked. Okay, just go at it back and forth. Yeah, there was another apple in that book that I was in last time, The Fairy Tales by Fabiana. The only thing is, if I'm telling a story in that book, and it is, I don't suddenly want to change my apple to a streaky one when the page before it showed it well blended. So that's why I did not go with the next page in there. Yeah, I wanted the storyline to stay true to itself. And I do that when I'm doing a book that actually tells a story. Okay, so see, I left that jagged. And then I'm going to come on down through here. Now, if I were doing this grayscale, I would have picked all the parts on here that were the medium color and just done them. See, it's a little darker here, it's a little darker here. that's where I would have used my last shade. And I'm going to do that, but I'm going to also let that last shade go into this. And yeah, I went outside the lines there. Not overly concerned. And normally I would also turn this book to where it was more comfortable instead of turning my body and my wrists sideways. But again, part of that is because of how I'm set up. Now see, I'm purposefully going into this and then stopping. Can you tell that? I want to leave some of those lines. I want it to look streaked. So I said, we work so hard at blending that when we suddenly want to change it, sometimes it can be difficult. You can do it, it's just, going to take a little bit of practice for some of you that have gotten your blending down so good. You're like, no, I don't want to go back, but it's okay. And I will just go over the top of some of this. And it's just going to be another color. Remember, the more layers you get in here, the more depth. Yeah, I know it's going to be unusual that I'm posting 2 days in a row. Surprise! Yeah, no, I worked the church nursery this morning. We went to church Friday night, and so I went and volunteered in the nursery this morning. And after the Cowboys lost, well, that kind of freed up the rest of the day. We really didn't have anything going on today. There's no life group tonight with church or anything, so we just decided he would go and take his phone to the back room and get caught up on some stuff, and I would come in here and do a video. So I may go ahead and do another one after this and just not post it yet. Just hold back on it because I have a show Wednesday at Frito-Lay, and odds are when I finish with that, I am going to be too tired to come in and do a video for y'all. Sorry. It just shows wear me out by the time you get in and get all set up and all that. It just can be difficult. I would say at my age, but yeah, at my age. Alright, so you can see it's already looking very streaky. I'm going to stand up so I can see. Oh yeah, see, I've got a lot of good streaks in there. Now I'm going to put that back and I'm going to grab red. And I'm going to come in here and start streaking. Just do it in bits. The streakier you can do these lines, the streakier that apple's going to look. And I don't know, I know apples are different in different parts of the country, but there are apples that are very smooth in color. There's some, I know there's a lady pink that's almost a pink colored apple. My daughter likes those. And so there are lots of different kinds. But the reason I did the apple, see, you can already tell the difference here. Let me change the light just a little. Sorry. There we go. The reason I did the last one really smooth is because the storyline negates that she poisoned the apple. And it was a very luscious, desirable looking poisonous apple. So what was I going to do but make it look as perfect as possible? So anyway, anywho, So just going over and over some of this, trying real hard not to go back to my little circles of blending, trying to really keep this streaked. I feel like I'm being messy, but I feel like that's what this negates, you know, to really get that streakiness in there. And see, it's starting to fill in some. Because you can get rid of all the white tooth in the paper and still end up with a streaked looking apple. And this paper, I do like the book, but the paper is, it's thick enough, but it's not that grand. It doesn't have a lot of little tooth divots in it, like in the books I've been working in. But it's not that thin stuff that you used to get at Create a Space. And I have heard that they have changed their paper. I've not bought any new books in a long time. There is someone named Colin, I think, that does some with children's faces with flowers and stuff. I would love, love, love that book. But it's just not something that's been in the budget for me right now. I do need to look it up again. Christmas coming, maybe I'll do that. Alright, so now I'm going to come in, and instead of the purple, I am going to use the raspberry for my darker areas, and I'm going to come in here and just deepen this up. You see, I'm really deepening that. That's those V areas that I used to tell you about, that I still tell you about, where it's going to be darker, and that pushes the stem up to the front some. I can do that down around here, around these berries. Do you see how when I go darker, it pushes that apple to the back and pops the berries up to the front? And I would imagine that these are blackberries or raspberries. Now I probably wouldn't do raspberries because of red apple right here. So in knowing that, those are going to be dark too. So I've got to be careful on how much dark I put in there. But see, I'm adding more streaks still. So this is a good streaky apple. And I could stop here, but I'm going to keep going because I want to get more dark around the outside of this apple, just to help it look a little more rounded and to add interest. See here? Just the straight scribble lines, no blending. Alright, do it right here. It's just going to give that apple some more personality. Alright, see how that makes it look so deep and rich down there? And I'm going to come in, and I've got to go this direction just to get my hand to where it'll work around the curve. And I went over that yellow just to knock it back some. And I'm really kind of liking this apple now. Okay, I've got a lot of streakiness going on in here. I'm good with that. I'm going to come back with the red, and I'm going to add some more here. I just really want a streaked up red apple. And see, I can even go across this some and down into it. Okay. You leave however much on there you want showing. Now, I'm thinking that's a pretty cool looking apple, so I think I'm going to leave it alone. There is a such thing, well, right here, there is such thing as overworking it. Okay? And I don't want to overwork it. Now, I will tell you, I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lessons worked out over here in books. So I'm going to be grabbing some different books and doing different lessons. Again, if you have something you'd like to see, I'd love to try to do that for you. Across the top of your phone, if you'll slide over, it'll say about. Click that and there's a place for donations if you want to sponsor. You know, you can do it monthly, you can do it once a year. You don't have to do it at all. It just helps me to be able to get books with things in them that you want to see colored. Alright? Luckily this time I found one with an apple. Didn't have to draw one or go buy one. So, alright, well that's all I've got. Short and simple. Was a whole lot quicker than the last one. And I will see y'all next time. Bye.